It's the Defiant Ones back here at historic Washington Hall. I have someone now here with us that is just made his debut here at Defy literally minutes after his match against Artemis Spencer. Ninja Mack. What's up, man?
How's everyone going? Y'all ready to make bets today?
Yes, we're ready, dude. We're ready, man. So welcome to Seattle. This is your first time wrestling in Seattle. How are you feeling about this?
Oh, it was wonderful that coming out, especially being able to open the show.
Yep.
You know, they let me have the first entrance, so I felt that full energy from Defy. That crowd was electrifying. So much energy they give you, and man, they were loud. One of the loudest crowds I've heard.
So, you know, I'm sure know tons of wrestlers that have wrestled here in Defy. What kind of stuff did you hear about Defy before you came out here?
You know, you hear about the really big promotions popping up, and just Defy is always one of those ones that's mentioned and consistent. And it's one of those premier indies in America that you got to hit. If you don't hit these premier indie shows, are you getting that recognition? So the people that come through Defy, just like the other big indie shows, you know those wrestlers are getting the recognition. It's one of the staple indies in America.
Absolutely, man. So you've now had your chance to debut here in Seattle, but your main promotion, it seems like these days, is over in Tokyo, Japan. You're wrestling for Pro Wrestling Noah. What has that been like for you? I mean, such a rich history, going all the way back to like All Japan Pro Wrestling is kind of where it started as an offshoot, and what's that like wrestling for Noah, man?
So one of my stories growing up that I told Noah when I got over there was, growing up in Texas, we get a lot of lucha on TV. Mm-hmm. So I got to watch a lot of AAA, obviously a lot of WWF before E growing up, but I got a lot to see the lucha scenes, and a lot of those lucha guys would work with the Japanese wrestlers.
Yep.
So that's when I got to see Jushin Thunder Liger first, and then when I saw that crazy costume character, so Japanese wrestling. And like I said, I'm not too young of a guy, but when I started watching wrestling, it was WWF, AAA, and when I started watching Japanese wrestling, it was right after Pro Wrestling Noah split from All Japan, and that was the third one I watched. Fell in love with Marufuji, fell in love with Kenta, just that junior division growing up so much that, I started watching that, and then, as I got into wrestling, they gave me a call. It was such an opportunity. It was just kind of lined up to happen.
That's amazing. That's awesome, man. So let's go back to young Ninja Mack, man. What was your first, experience as a kid watching wrestling? Do you remember?
Of course, I come from a very big Catholic family.
Okay.
So my parents were little rabbits, and I'm the oldest of 7 children.
Sure.
So not that I'm the biggest now, but at one point in my life, I was the biggest child in the family.
Yeah.
So I got to beat down my little brothers a little bit, on the parents' bed. So I had WWF going on. I'm Stone Cold Stunner him off the bed.
Yeah.
Kane with the choke slams, and it just having so much fun as a kid. It hooked you, and maybe I just never grew out of it because I love it and enjoy it so much now. I'm the one getting choke slammed and thrown around. So,
who was your guy immediately? Who was like your favorite as a kid?
Rey Mysterio was so captivating. Just, high flyer lucha mask. Like I said, Jushin Thunder Liger, the crazy outfit. I was huge on Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit's work.
Yeah.
Those rascals really hooked me. Bret Hart was such a technician that I was very into why are they doing that? Because I also did a lot of amateur wrestling growing up.
Okay. So
to be able to see them do some stuff, that was like, oh, you can't do that in a regular amateur match. But to see what they can pull off and what I actually tried in matches, it's been such an intrigue that everything's so thrown back and forth.
Absolutely, man. So, did you collect the toys, play the video games when you were a kid?
I wasn't a big toy collector because anytime I got a toy, I was the one throwing them and smashing them, so they lasted about 5 minutes if I was lucky. Yeah. But I was a little more careful with some video games. I didn't want to break those. So, growing up, I think the best game was WCW, NWO, Nintendo 64.
Yes.
Or you go back to the All Japan or New Japan on 64, I believe 99.
Wow.
That was going a little old school on you, but those were my big ones.
Nice, man. Okay. So, where did you discover that you could do this? As you're a fan. When did you realize that you could actually be a wrestler?
So previously, before I wrestled, I did a lot of circus work. I said I was pretty good in school, but I was just never wanted that 9 to 5 job, and I saw an opportunity in Vegas to go try out for a circus show, and I flew myself to Vegas, kind of tried out to be an entertainer, and they kind of took me in. I went through that system, and I've always grew up watching wrestling, and even when I'm doing on these circus shows, Monday night you're watching Raw, at the time Thursday you're watching SmackDown, even on the road. And then my last circus show, I actually met an independent wrestler that was on the circus show. And we just happened to chit chat and talk. And I was like, oh, I'm a big fan. And he's like, well, if you're ever interested, because you did some amateur and you're pretty good on the trampoline, there's some schools, Florida, Texas, California. I was like, oh, I'm from Texas. And he goes, dude, Booker T in Houston's got one of the biggest schools. I was like, no, what? I am from Houston. What do you mean the biggest school? So I finished my last circus show on a Thursday. I flew home on a Friday. I gave Booker T's Reality of Wrestling a call. Kevin Bernhardt, the guy that manages and runs it now, answered the phone. Hey, come in on Sunday for our first camp we're doing.
Yeah.
Showed up that Sunday. Never looked back to go to the circus. It's just been wrestling since then.
Wow, man. So when you're talking about like circus stuff, were you doing a lot of the acrobatic stuff that you do?
Yeah. I did a lot of fire spinning, some trapeze, some trampoline. I got in. I went to Montreal. They do a little bit of like workout and training sessions to get you ready for. There's so many different circus jobs and shows, but the more useful you are, the more you can be used on a show.
Okay.
So I opened up. I mean, I always say the best education is not school kids. It's YouTube.
Okay.
Well, YouTube's free, and if you really put your time and work into it, you can learn anything on YouTube.
Wow.
So I picked YouTube, and I tried fire spinning, I tried flips, even now I study YouTube when I need to go back and watch some wrestling.
Yeah.
YouTube to me is the best education you can get.
Who are some of the wrestlers you study?
Oh, everyone. It's not just everyone. I study the moves, which... Moves cool, but I like little details, transitions, corners. Why are they this fast? Why are they slow? How many steps do they take? So I'm paying attention to a lot of details. YouTube, pause, rewind, go, and I can really get a full detail. Triple H is one of my biggest studies. I think him, hands down, timing wise, everything he does is so on point at the right time that it's perfect every time. You can't say much better than that. If you're looking at electricity, you can't go wrong with The Rock, John Cena.
Yep.
They're crowd captivating. You want some technical kick your face in. You got Kenta and Marufuji that are just brawling and knocking each other out. And if I said Japanese wrestling fan, if you want some high status, you go Keiji Muto, but we're going old school nowadays.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Nice, man. Okay, so you start out at Reality of Wrestling. How did you take to it, man? Did it take a while for you to get a hang of it, or did you feel pretty natural with it?
I felt natural. Like I said, I grew up wrestling, so but and with all the acrobatics, in the ring was never too bad. I think everyone needs to get in some ring cardio shape.
Sure.
Because no matter what kind of shape you're in, you go into a wrestling match, you're never used to that cardio unless you're doing it.
Yeah.
But my time at Books, I think I started at such a more advanced level than everyone else coming in. I flew through it, and then having the access to a lot of lucha libre in Texas around me, I got the chance to do bookers during the week and really train. But because his shows were once or twice a month, just because it's a NXT kind of run formula, I was free to book 3-4 lucha shows a weekend on my off weekends. And I just grinded out lucha those first 3 years at Books. Wow. So studying TV wrestling at Bookers and the transitions, the camera angles, why you do this, and the logic, and then be able to go to a lucha crowd and learn to work that lucha style where it's a little faster pace, a little more acrobatic, more crowd involvement, really get the people. So I took a piece from both worlds, study and get some insight of the Japan wrestling, travel, and then all your experiences, put it together.
That's awesome.
So,
what was your first match that you felt proud of? Do you remember?
There's not many. I'm very picky.
Okay.
There was a match, and I'm not even a big fan of the match, but where it took me in my career these last years, me and Dante Leon, Loco Wrestling, I want to say December of 2020 or 2021.
Okay.
But I did that match with Dante. Wrestling with Unicorns, I don't know if you guys know
in
Wrestling
Chicago,
with Unicorns.
right? Yep.
That was the first time they ever came down to our show. They flew themselves in.
Okay.
got the clips. Me and Dante went viral. Wrestling with the Unicorns went viral.
Yeah.
And since that show, all three of us took off. Wrestling with the Unicorns getting booked everywhere. Dante's getting booked. I get booked the next month at the show. I wrestle a guy named Dragon Bane. Literally 15 minutes after the match, I get a call from AAA. I get a call from Pro Wrestling Noah. We were match 3. Match 4 is going, and the companies are calling my phone because the clips went out. And I was like, oh, what did we just do? So
we're on to something, man.
Those 2 matches back to back, that kind of just, to me, now where I'm at, I'm a little picky, but where they took me in these last 2 years, I'm very appreciative to those 2 guys. And those are the 2 big ones I can really just remember off the top of my head.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. So, being in Japan now, like, are you a fan of Japanese culture?
Yes. Now that I've been able to spend a year and a half over there, obviously my translations, I'm working on it. So I believe once I get more fluent and can translate, you'll get a better understanding. But from my experience over there, and their how prepared they are, how it's very weird. If you've never been to Japan, there's not trash cans on the street. Yeah. There's not much trash on the street. They're pretty disciplined. Throw your trash here, recycle here. It's a very clean place. And another thing I really noticed, I like to go to the dojo early. 4 and 5-year-olds will walk to school without like that. Like I have a 5-year-old son, and I would not let him walk to school in Houston, Texas on his own. Yeah. But in Japan, they teach the kids at an early age is how you walk. They teach them outside etiquette. Yeah. But the people are so trustful and worthy over there. You could leave your bag in the middle of the train station, come back 4 hours later, and that bag will be there. Wow. And you can bet that, because I've done it. Accidentally left my bag at a train station, just being a ninja, came back, and it was still there. Wow. Wild. And like I said, they're disciplined. Yeah. It's not just discipline in wrestling. They're disciplined in finances, discipline in diet, their workout, their study habits. I'm very appreciative of them allowing me to go over and learn their culture.
Awesome, man. So we're talking with Ninja Mack here. It's the Defiant Ones. We'll be back with more from Ninja Mack in just a moment. All right. We're here with Ninja Mack. It's the Defiant Ones here in Washington Hall. Ninja Mack, how far back does your love of ninjas go? As a kid, were you watching ninja films?
Oh, man. 3 Little Ninjas, Ninja Turtles. I don't know if they're ninjas considered, but, Power Rangers, I was a young age when those came out. So that was very influential. Actually, shout out to Tommy, the Green Ranger that just passed away, Jason Frank. Yes. He was actually out of Texas in Houston area, so I've got to meet him a couple times and some seminars, Comic-Cons, and, such an idol and a guy that passed away that carried a franchise. It's a sad loss. Yes. But going back to ninjas, not even just ninjas, Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Jackie Chan. Yep. Like I said, I was always into the animation fights, the fighting on TV's action. That's what I was drawn into.
Nice, man. Right on. As you you mentioned casually that you have a 5-year-old son. Does your son like wrestling?
Oh, he loves wrestling. He's future world, little ninja's coming in about 20 years. Y'all be ready.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, he's a little ninja himself. He's already sparring in taekwondo and whooping people's butts at 5, which is I don't know how he does it as small as he is, but he does. But he's got a little ninja in him. So
that's awesome. When did you so if anyone has not seen the match with him and Artemis Spencer, definitely do that now. You pull out some crazy moves that I couldn't even do at a trampoline park. When did you discover that you can do those things? And when you want to, do something crazy like that, do you have to just like practice it a bunch of times, or, bring me into the mindset of doing some of these wild spins and stuff?
I've chosen a career path that's not very straightforward with small wrestlers. Mm-hmm. It's a very large person sport, and just like when I was doing high school and junior high wrestling, being one of the smaller weights on the division, maybe I just had a big ninja head, but I wanted to go at the heavyweights, because it would make me better what I had to do if I wrestled someone stronger. So I would practice on the bigger guys in matches, and I would get my ass thrown around. Am I allowed to cuss? Sorry, boss. I'm Defiant Ones. Yeah. I apologize, but I would get my ass thrown around.
Yep.
And, you get your ass thrown around so much that, hey, if they're going to take me over and kind of suplex me to my back, if I kind of kick my feet over, I can land on my feet and not actually take a bump. Maybe I could reverse it.
Yep.
And back in junior high, that's when it first started. Someone's bigger guy get my leg. I was able to just kind of flip my body around, catch myself, and shoot a single on him and get the score instead of take the bump. And then as I get bigger, everyone grows except me because everyone gets bigger and bigger. So I get thrown around harder. Well, I just start flipping more to my feet.
Yep.
And then next thing you know, I'm wearing a ninja outfit, still getting thrown around by these big guys, but I've been able to take my body control and use that to my advantage.
That's awesome, man.
Because, like I said, I'm not the biggest. I'm not going to throw people around. Yeah. So learn to work with it, and that's what I chose to do.
That's crazy, man. That's a really good way of breaking it down, man. I never thought about it like that, but that's smart. So, just a bit of just to get kind of an idea of your personality, man. So, outside of wrestling, what kind of stuff do you like to do, week to week? Are you into, sports or certain different kind of movies? What kind of stuff are you into?
Well, you want to make a bet?
All right, let's do it.
All right, man, I'm a gambling freak. We do
quarters.
Really? We do. I'm a gambling freak, but I don't touch slots.
Okay.
No to slots.
He's a real gambler.
Real gambler. Slots are dangerous people. They'll take your money. Don't do it. I do know some friends that can pick them, but I'm not one. You catch ninja at the tables. We got some blackjack, ultimate Texas Hold'em. I love Texas Hold'em tournaments. Pot limit Omaha.
Okay.
I do football parlays, basketball, baseball parlays.
Biggest win?
In one night or one parlay?
Let's do both. First night or a biggest in
biggest
one night.
Win on a blackjack table was $22,000.
Wow. Okay, biggest win on a parlay.
1,700.
God damn, dude, that's awesome. That would make my week. That would make my month.
Yeah,
that's amazing. 22 grand. Whew.
But it was just one of the nights you're on a roll, and I'm not rolling deep. I limit myself every time I play to $500.
Okay.
I'll never go in with more than 500. I'll never lose more than 500.
Yep.
But when I flip it, it's start off small, you get on a streak, you roll them up, and then there was points that night where I was betting 2,500 at that table, and maybe a little influenced.
Yeah.
The casinos get you a couple hours in, but it happened to be my night, and I was hitting, and luckily I had some very good friends to drag me off that table before I gave it all back.
Wow. Damn, dude, that's awesome.
But yeah, that's a little insight to ninja outside my wrestling life. If I'm not training to wrestle, if I'm not practicing to wrestle, I'm betting so I can make more money to wrestle.
There we go. If money was not an issue and you could have any band, artist, musician play you out to the ring and create a custom theme song for you, who would it be?
At a couple years ago, I would have said Linkin Park.
Okay.
We had a little tragedy with Chester, so I'm not going to pick Linkin Park, but hey, I love Linkin Park. Great band. I would have to say, System of a Down, but I don't think we could use them anymore either. So, one of their guys broke away from the band, so I'm going to say Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay, nice. They're back at it. They just put out a new record, so yeah.
Can't go wrong with Avenged Sevenfold. Shout out Avenged Sevenfold. Ninja Mack's looking for music.
All right, let's go, man. Right on, dude. Well, so what's the next few years look like for you, dude? What are your goals, Ninja Mack?
Right now I'm committed to Noah, and with them opening their arms and welcoming me, I feel like the best thing I can do to reward them is to try and make pro wrestling Noah #1 in Japan again. Yeah. That's been my big goal this last year, to fire up and light up the junior division, to be that small guy to go challenge the heavyweights to push them. But I feel like if we can make that junior division on fire like it was in the 2000s, I don't see why Noah can't take over New Japan. Pro Wrestling Noah's growing. We did 32,000 at the Keiji Tokyo Dome show. Wow. So we know we can hit numbers. Can we stay consistent? Can we get the big enough draws when we don't have to rely on the big legends to come in? And we're doing it right now. I want to keep pushing. I want to take over, and I want to become #1 in Japan for Noah again.
Be their ace.
Hey, if they choose me to be ace, king, queen, jack, or 10, as long as I play my part and we get there, that's all that matters.
That's amazing, dude. So thank you so much for taking the time. I got one last question for you. Pick a scar on your body and show us if you can, but at least tell us the story of how you got it. And it does not have to be wrestling related. Just any scar on your body.
You know, when you're a ninja kind of playing around with stuff in the backyard as a kid,
Yeah.
you got swords and throwing stars.
Yep.
And, you know, I felt like I was cool and I saw it on a show. So I happened to tell my cousin to throw a ninja star at me and I was going to catch it. And, you know, being young and dumb, I didn't catch it with my hand. I just happened to catch it with my arm. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Catching a ninja star with his arm.
Hey, you know, instead of catching it like this, you just kind of poke in a little bit.
Damn.
But it's, like I said, I was young and dumb, and it was, man, almost 20 years ago now.
God damn.
So, but I want to appreciate the time.
Yeah,
Thank you
Ninja
for
Mac,
having
dude.
me.
Defiant Ones.
Hey, and people, if you haven't, go give the Defiant Ones a subscribe. Go follow them on all platforms, and you can bet that. Ha! Right back to